Well friends, in this video we shall discuss regarding determination of mean precipitation over an area. The learning objectives are to understand the necessity of mean precipitation and to demonstrate the different methods of mean precipitation. So why it is necessary to measure mean precipitation over the area? The rain gauges represents only point sampling of the areal distribution of a storm. The rain gauges represents only point sampling of the areal distribution of a storm. In practice, however, hydrological analysis requires knowledge of the rainfall over a catchment. So these rain gauge stations it shows only point rainfall. So in this area there will be precipitation and this will get represented by it, but it will be represented only by the point sampling. But in practice, for hydrological analysis, for design of any hydraulic structure, it requires knowledge of the rainfall over a catchment. So over this complete catchment, we are in need of rainfall, and it is nothing but determination of average rainfall over a catchment. So in case of this catchment, these two rain gauge stations are lying inside the catchment and this is lying outside the catchment. So from these three rain gauge stations, how to find out the average rainfall over this catchment? So for determination of this, three methods are in practice. One is called as arithmetical mean method, second is called as Thiessen polygon method, and last is called as isohydraulic method. So very first is arithmetical mean method. As name suggests, it is arithmetical mean method, simplest method which is based on arithmetic average of the rain gauges. So when the rainfall measured at various stations in the catchment show little variation, the average precipitation over the catchment area is taken as the arithmetic mean of the station values. Thus, if P1, P2, Pn are the rainfall values in a given period at n stations within the catchment, then the value of the mean precipitation over the catchment by the arithmetic mean method is P bar equals to summation of Pi from I to n divided by n. So Pi is nothing but precipitation at individual stations. So Pi is nothing but P bar is nothing but P1 plus P2 plus Pn divided by n. Summation of the precipitations at individual station divided by number of stations will give you average precipitation over the area. So this is regarding arithmetic mean method. So in case of this, if the rain gauge station show little variation, this method is used. And most important thing is that in this method, only stations inside the catchment are considered. So here you will find three stations, but only two stations are lying inside the catchment. So for getting this P bar, we can calculate as P1 plus P2 divided by 2, only two stations. So in this way we can get this P bar. So this is regarding arithmetic mean method. So in case of this arithmetic mean method, in simple words you can say the average of the precipitations of all the rain gauge stations inside the catchment is taken. Very simple. Now next is Thiessen polygon method. In this method, the rainfall recorded at each station is given a weightage on the basis of an area closest to the station. The procedure of determining the weightage area is as follows. So what is done in case of this method? In this method, the rainfall recorded at each station is given a weightage on the basis of area closest to the station. On the basis of area, weightage is given to each and every station. So how this procedure is done? The catchment area is drawn to scale and the position of the stations are marked on it. Very first, the catchment area is shown, or catchment area is plotted, and then all the rain gauge stations are shown. Stations are joined to form a network of triangles, or the stations are joined with the lines to form a triangles. Perpendicular bisectors for each of the sides of a triangle are drawn. These bisectors form a polygon around each station. The boundary of the catchment, if it cuts the bisectors, is taken as the outer limit of the polygon. The areas of these Thiessen polygons are determined either with a planimeter or by using an overlay grid. Thus, in general, for n stations, the average precipitation P bar equals to E bar, summation of PI divided by A. So how to find out the P average? P average equals to summation of PI from I to N divided by A. PI is the precipitation of station, AI is the area of concerned polygon bounded by the station. A is the total catchment area, always in terms of square kilometer. Thiessen polygon method is superior to the arithmetic mean method. The rain gauge stations outside the catchment are also used effectively. Here, in case of this method, the rain gauge stations lying outside the catchments are also considered. Hope you understood. Again, we shall discuss with the help of sketch. So, what is that in case of this? Very first, the catchment area is plotted to some suitable scale. All the rain gauge stations A1, A2, A3, A4, 5 up to N, A6, all the rain gauge stations are shown lying inside the catchment and outside the catchment are shown. So this is the rain gauge station number 1. Where is 1? This is 1, this is 2, this is 3, this is 4, this is 5, and this is 6. 6 rain gauge station is lying outside the catchment. But in case of the Thiessen polygon method, weightage is given to all the stations lying inside as well as lying outside. So then all these stations are joined with the straight lines to form a triangle. So all the stations are joined with the straight lines, so triangles are formed. Then perpendicular bisectors are drawn from all the sides of triangles. So here you can see this is the perpendicular bisector to this 3, 4. This is the perpendicular bisector to this 4, 5. This is the, in case of this, for this is the perpendicular bisector, right? Then this is the perpendicular bisector for this, and so on. So after joining all the stations and forming the triangles, perpendiculars are drawn from each and every side. Still, these perpendicular bisectors intersects to each other, right? So here you can say this is the perpendicular bisector and then this is the perpendicular bisector, they are intersecting. This is the perpendicular bisector from this is also intersecting. So these are drawn. So with the help of these bisectors, there will be formation of polygons. So here it is colored in yellow color. This is also colored separately. This is also colored separately. So this type of polygons are formed after drawing the bisectors, right? Then area of these polygons are measured with the help of planimeter or overlay grid. Means with the help of grid or graph paper also you can find out the area, but the easiest way is you can find out the area with the help of planimeter. You can find out the area with the help of planimeter. Now we are knowing precipitation at all these stations. We are knowing the area which is bounded by this. Very easily we can find out the P bar, right? In case of this, if the station is lying outside this, in that case the bisectors are going outside, in that case the boundary of the catchment is the boundary for the polygon. So in case of this is not the polygon, this is not covered under polygon. So this is the boundary for polygon which is colored with sky blue color for A6. This is the area for A6. This is important. This is, hope you are understood. You read it twice or thrice, then you can understand. This is little bit difficult for you people at this level to understand it 100%. Read the step, go through the steps again and again, then you can understand it. Then P bar is calculated. How P bar is calculated? So P bar will be equals to PIAI. So PI means precipitation of station number 1 and AI means area of station number 1 bounded by station number 1. So PIAI plus means you can say P1A1 plus P2A2 plus P3A3 plus P4A4 and so on divided by total catchment area. Divided by total catchment area. So PIAI divided by A. Summation of means PIAI plus PIAI means P1 P2 plus P1 P2 P1A1 plus P2A2 plus P3A3 plus P4A4 and so on divided by A. This will give you P bar. In case of this, most important thing is that the boundary of the catchment will be the boundary for polygon if the bisectors are going outside the polygon. Hope you have understood it. At least 50% you might have understood, 50% you study once again, right? So this is regarding Thiessen polygon method. The next is isoheital method. What is isoheit? An isoheit is a line joining points of equal rainfall magnitude. In the isoheital method, the catchment area is drawn to scale and the rain gauge stations are marked. In case of this method, similar to Thiessen polygon method, very first catchment area is drawn to scale and the rain gauge stations are marked. First, get it understood what is isoheit. An isoheit is a line joining two points of equal rainfall, similar to contour. Contour is line joining points of same elevation. Similar to this, isoheit is a line joining points of same rainfall. Very first, the catchment area is drawn to scale. All rain gauge stations are marked. The recorded rainfall values are then marked on the plot. Neighboring stations outside the catchment are also considered. Then isoheights of various values are then drawn by considering point rainfalls. Considering point rainfall as a base, isoheights are drawn as guides and interpolating between them by eye. Similar to contour, by judgment by eye, the isoheights are plotted in between two rain gauges or two rainfalls. The procedure is similar to the drawing of elevation contour based on the spot levels. The area between two adjacent isoheights are then determined with a planimeter. If the isoheights go out of the catchment boundary is used as a bounding line in case of similar to Thiessen polygon method. The average value of the rainfall indicated by two isoheights is assumed to be acting over the inter-isoheight area. And then the mean precipitation over a catchment is determined as P bar equals to AI PI. AI PI from I equals to 1 to n means A1 P1 plus A2 P2 plus A3 P3 divided by total catchment area. In case of this is most important thing that the PI, it is the average precipitation for each pair of adjacent isoheights. This is important. PI is nothing but it is the average of two isoheights. That we shall again explain with the help of sketch. The isoheight method is superior to other two methods, especially when the stations are large in numbers. So this is regarding isoheital method. So in case of isoheital method, what is done? Let's get it understood once again with the help of this sketch. Catchment area is drawn with the help of scale. All the rain gauge stations are shown, lying inside, lying outside, and then then rain gauge stations are shown. Precipitation is also marked, and then isoheights are drawn. So how to draw the isoheights? Please listen it carefully. So this is the rain gauge stations having precipitation equals to 4. This is the rain gauge station having precipitation equals to 7. This is rain gauge station with 7.2. Rain gauge station with 9.2 and so on. Now how to draw the isoheight? So here in between these 4 and 7 you can plot a isoheight of 4 directly on this rain gauge station 4, and then this is isoheight in between 4 and 7 you can draw the isoheight of 6. Even you can go for 7 also, but it is better to go for other than 7. So in between 4 and 7 we can draw the isoheight of 6. We can draw 5 also, right? So this is the isoheight of 6. Then next station is 7, next is 7.2, and then next 9.2. So in between these 3 we can draw isoheight having value equals to 8. It is with judgment, it is by judgment, by eye, right? So here we won't have to maintain here the difference between these two is 2, here is 2, here is 2. And in case of this isoheital method it can be 3, it can be 1, that is understood. But in case of this contour interval is always constant, but here it may vary, right? Now in this way you can plot the isoheight. Then how to find out the P bar? P bar equals to AI PI. So here Pi is nothing but this plus this by 2. So 4 plus 6 by 2 Pi. then plus A2 pi. Pi means 6 plus 8. Next is 6 plus 8 divided by 2, and this is the bounded area. This area you have to consider. This area, if the isolate is lying outside the catchment, then boundary of the catchment is the boundary for area. This is most important. Hope conceptually you have understood it. This is also a little bit difficult, so you read it twice or thrice, then very easily you can understand it. And then divided by total catchment area. So this is regarding isohydral method and regarding determination of average rainfall over a catchment. Now next topic is depth area duration curves, also called as DAD curves, popularly known as DAD curve. It is necessary, not most of the time short note is asked on this. In previous topic short note may be asked and numerical may be asked. In that case all values will be given. You should know the formula for each and every method. So what is this DAD curves? It is necessary to have information on the maximum amount of rainfall of various durations occurring over various sizes of areas. It is very important to know the maximum amount of precipitation occurring over various areas of various durations. So development of relationship between this maximum depth area duration is called as DAD curves. The development of relationship between maximum depth area duration for a region is known as DAD analysis. And this is very, very important as far as hydrometeorological study is concerned. Isohydral maps and mass curves of the storm are compiled. A depth area curve for a given duration of a storm is prepared. These are the steps you have to mug up it. Then from a study of the mass curve of rainfall, various durations and the maximum depth of rainfall in these durations are noted. The maximum depth area curve for a given duration D is prepared by assuming the area distribution of rainfall for a smaller duration to be similar to the total storm. The procedure is then repeated for different storms and the envelope curve of maximum depth area for duration D is obtained. A similar procedure for various values of D results in a family of envelope curves of maximum depth versus area with duration as the third parameter, and these are called as DAD curves. So in this normal short note is asked. So when short note is asked on DAD curves, you write down DAD curve is nothing but development of relationship between maximum precipitation or maximum depth of precipitation lying over area for different duration. So it is called as DAD curves, and from hydrometeorological study point of view, these DAD curves are very, very important. For this purpose, the plot is plotted maximum depth versus area and time as a third parameter. A family of the curve is formed which is called as DAD curves, and this is useful for hydrometeorological study. Okay, so in this way you can write. It is very simple. Now next is maximum intensity duration frequency curves, popularly known as IDF. On this also 99% of the time short note is asked, what is IDF? Intensity duration frequency curve. Rainfall at a place can be completely defined if its intensity, durations and frequencies of various storms occurring at the place are known. Rainfall at a place can be completely defined if its intensity is known, its duration is known and the frequency of occurrence is known. Whenever an intense rain occurs, its magnitude and duration is generally known from the meteorological department, and this data can be used for development of relationship between intensity, duration and frequency. So this frequency, it can be determined by the relationship T equals to N by M, means frequency of intense rainfall, or it is a recurrence interval. Recurrence means occurrence interval, repetition of occurrence, or you can say frequency. T is the frequency equals to N is the total number of years of records, and M is a ranking of storm. M is a ranking of storm. So by this relationship we can find out frequency. And here the IDF curves can be plotted with maximum intensity versus time. Maximum intensity versus time. We can plot this type of IDF curve, and these are useful for design of any hydraulic structure because their peak flow is important. So this is regarding IDF curve. Short note is asked, so draw this type of curve, simple curves, and then 2 to 3 lines you will get complete mass. What is IDF curve? So rainfall at a place can be completely defined if its intensity, its duration and frequency is known at a particular place. So development of relation between these 3 parameters is called as IDF curves, and the frequency of occurrence of the storm can be determined in the relationship T equals to N by M. Write down what is T, what is N and what is M, and then show this type of plot. You will get 100%. So this is all about average rainfall over an area, various method, that is arithmetic mean method, Thiessen polygon method, isoaxial method. Then we have discussed DAD curves, depth area duration curves, and then IDF curve, intensity duration frequency curves. This is all about this topic.